Okay, hi everybody. You've got Rose Chastain, and I get to interview William Wong and Jim Alvino today with our Real Talk, saying it like it is about life and business. So, hi guys.
Hello.
Hi, William.
Hey, Jim. Hey, Rose.
Good to see you guys again. It's been a while.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So people have been asking about Real Talk because apparently you don't find that anywhere else. Or very often. It's difficult to find. So today I thought, since it's the holidays and most people sort of lose their mind temporarily for the next couple months or so, I thought we should have a conversation about staying grounded, sort of. I'm going to use a bunch of different ways of saying it, and then you guys can say it in your language, but sort of staying grounded, connected to what you're here for, moving in the right direction, not losing everything, in the lustful pursuit of more food and drinks, or shopping or whatever else is that your holidays look like. So, and let alone business dies down, in many, many countries, of course, not America, but many countries will just stop working. And how do you sort of keep life going, keep yourself grounded, and use this time to restore? What is your theory on that? What are your practices? Including, you could change the topic.
Yeah. Okay. You want to take a shot at that first, William?
Well, yeah, sure. It's interesting. It's all of what you just said, Rose. The holidays, I used to always say that, I can't stand it because a lot of people don't work. They're in the quote unquote, what I would say, holiday mode, and you can't get any work done. And a few years ago, I just said, you know what, I'm going to surrender to it. So I stopped trying to do business, and I usually just spend the last 6 to 8 weeks of the year working on my business, working on planning the next year. Because I'm not going to, any business I do, I'm thrilled to do. It's like, oh, it's great, but I'm not expecting any of it. I'm just planning for the next year. Whereas, the term that you've probably heard me say before, it's like, I work on my business. I don't work in it. So, I'll take appointments, but I'm not looking to generate them or find them. It's just, no, I'll surrender. I'll go somewhere, peace and quiet, and, where I can start doing thinking and creating.
That's really great. There's a couple of really cool things about that. One is how you use the word surrender, and that you didn't use surrender in a passive fashion. That was surrender like, I'm going to go, a choice, an active choice to go with the wind instead of against the wind.
Yeah, it's not worth the fight. I spent many years trying to fight the fight, but it's not the best way to use my energy. I'd rather take the energy and create rather than trying to, chase somebody down who, well, let's see, I can meet you on this day. We've got a Christmas party here. We have this here. And if should I be lucky to get an appointment, they're not fully there anyway, because the environment that we're in is all about the holidays. It's the time of the year that's all about celebrating, being thankful, the gift of giving, and all this other stuff that the world, what I say is, we do monkey see, monkey do. Everyone else does it, so we do it. Yeah. Whereas the rebel that I am, I do the opposite.
Well, the other thing, speaking of rebel, that I like about what you said is that everybody knows that they should work, on their business, not in their business. Everyone knows they should. At least if they're smart enough to hire a coach, they know that they should.
Yeah.
But rarely do we fit that in where there's naturally space for it. We often try and make ourselves work on our business, not in our business. So I like that you have sort of taken a natural occurring pause and put that in there. It's really great.
Yeah. And it's I mean, it's one of the things I tell my clients. You know, it's why would you want to work that hard? You know, people do believe those myths that you have to work hard to get results. It's like you do, but be smart about it. You know, it's heck, life and business is tough enough as it is. You don't need to make it any harder. Believe me, the hard will come on its own, especially, you know, if you're up to something big, and the hard will come. It'll be there. You don't need to add any yourself.
So I have a slightly different approach.
Excellent.
And from my experience, and I'm not actually disagreeing with what William has said, because I think that it's a time to reflect, it's a time to plan, it's a time to work on your business. There's no question about it. Decembers are typically among my best months.
Wow.
And business-wise. And the reason is that I want to maintain momentum. What happens is, particularly with the planning, although I have clients this December I'll be working with, and that's good. That's fine. They're present, I'm present, and so that's going to be really good. What has happened to me in the past is that if I let December go, or if I surrender to, let's say, what's happening in December in terms of all the holidays and so forth, I typically lose momentum, and I have lost momentum, and it takes me the first quarter of the new year to ratchet up my energy and momentum again. So I have not wanted to do that. So I've stayed strong in December. Typically, I finish the year strong. I finished the year strong. It's the last month of the last quarter of the year, and so I'm doing the planning. But any client that I can bring on in December is good news. It's icing on the cake. If I'm coaching people, William and Rose, I will coach them to stay active in December. But it includes what you're talking about too, because it is an opportunity to see. I'm not much of a partier, so it is an opportunity then to sit back, reflect, do the planning, don't lose the momentum, and hit the street strong in January, and not take 2 months to ratchet up your business. So I'm working on what's my January going to look like, what's my 2017 going to look like, and I'm going to start it now. So I don't get terribly sucked in to holiday, or holiday spirit's great, but I'm not out and about buying stuff, like crazy, and office parties and things like that. So that's what I typically do, and I'm able to continue to tell people that December is among my best months, and it damn well better be. It's like you're making up for some months that might not have been so good, So anyway,
that's great. There's a couple of things that stood out for me in what you said, Jim. One is, it's sort of like you have a similar strategy to what William has, except for instead of the planning and that work, you produce, like you fill that with producing. Yes. And I can also see the momentum that carries you into the new year, rather than the couch potato style that carries you into the new year that a lot of people do. Yeah. The other thing that I heard, and I heard it underlining in both of what you said, is the aspect of spirituality and reflecting, planning. I don't know, many different words for that, but the time to reflect and be connected to something maybe larger than yourself, or make sure you're on the right path, you're going in the right direction. Can either one of you say something about that?
Well, I have actually, Rose, I make a very deliberate, conscious intention every day to be there. So to be connected that way. So really, in a lot of ways, the end of year does not have a special significance to me. December's between November and January. because as I'm saying, I'm deliberately trying to connect to that higher self, to that higher energy every day. So the reflection, and I think, I'll tell you the truth, William may be a better planner, or may use his planning time more productively than I might be running away from the fear of how I would waste time if I didn't keep productive. Mm-hmm. For me to kind of say, oh, great, I have 2. What happens is on day 13 or 14, I might start planning. So knowing that about myself, that I may tend to procrastinate in that area, I stay productive in that way. And yes, I'm thinking the planning and what can I do differently. And I've already begun that, actually. I've already begun, for me, what's going to be a 2017 makeover. So I've started the planning. And planning is kind of an ongoing thing, and it culminates in December. As I say, I like to hit the road running. I like to hit the ground running. So that's kind of where I am, and that's maybe why it doesn't hold that kind of special significance. In fact, William brought up something that, and maybe I should go with his advice, but I consciously feel and am deliberate about going against the stream in December, okay? Because I don't want to be sucked into the rapids. I don't want to do that, or maybe I just don't want to acknowledge that this is the time of year people are having fun and I'm still working. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Well, this is a little bit of a segue, but there's something that I heard in what you said that I think could be very valuable, Jim, which is managing yourself from a basis of fear of what you could be. Let me say it another way. It's sort of, it's when what you're managing for is I'm not going to do that again, which is a very different place than I have predictably done X. How am I going to develop myself to be a new kind of human being, a new kind of professional, so that I can eliminate X? And instead, we tend to put up walls, structures, physical, intellectual, to make sure we avoid the kind of behavior we don't like. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Sure.
So it's I don't know if you could say anything to that about, how do you, for yourself, instead of trying to get yourself to be a particular way or handle your shortcomings, we can call them, how do you develop new habits or actually take a high level view of the kind of business person you are? Where do you fit in that kind of work, and how do you know for yourself that it needs to be done?
Well, what I find, and what I have found over the last several months, as the year, maybe because the year is closing out, that again, a deliberate, conscious intention to, let's say, be more, not have more, but really be more, and that being more for me means being aware of the areas in which I like anybody else, I get sucked into things. Nito Cobain talks about a stop doing list. I'm still watching too much TV, for example, in exhaustion at the end of the day. And I've put, I counsel, I coach my students this way, that if you put a dollar value on an hour of your time, and I don't mean, what you get as a consultant. I mean, put $5,000 on, or let's make it easy math, $4,000, okay? And every 15 minutes I waste, I've spent $1,000 in opportunity cost. So when I give myself that message, it may not be actual money, but when I give myself that message, that has gotten me out of the chair on more than one occasions to realize, you know what? Yes, I'm tired, and yes, it's the end of the day, and maybe it's not my brightest time of the day, and maybe I'm not going to be the most productive in certain ways, but there are other ways that I can intend to move my life or business forward, as opposed to just vegetating, right? So there are habits that you become conscious of, and I don't know why it is easier to develop a bad habit than a new habit. It seems to be universal experience. I mean, you could fall into something that you know is not right in a nanosecond, and it takes you a long time to break that or to create a new habit. I'm not sure what's going on there. Maybe it's a perception of anticipated pain in creating something new that requires discipline, for example. So anyway, I think I got off point, but those are my rumblings and let's call it ramblings in terms of these issues.
William, what about you? What do you have to say about both the connection between the staying grounded, the spirituality, and getting the work done, anything about that, but then also managing yourself, not from a perspective of making yourself not be something, but having yourself be something?
Yeah, I would say it's about balance. Because if I look, I don't go, oh, no way, I'm not going to do that. It's more of, okay, if it showed up, then maybe I really should be doing it. You know, and it's I don't want to contradict myself. It's like, yeah, I will say, yeah, it shows up, so it must be time to deal with it. And at the same time, in the background, it's like I'm not expecting anything because of the decision that I've already made or what I may have already created about what the holiday season is. Now, years ago, I used to just say, you know what, screw it. And I would go on vacation. I'd go for 3 weeks or 4 weeks and I'd leave the country. But at the same time, also, I think I'm a little bit different than most people. And I think, I should take that back. I'm like most self-employed people, always working. When I'm out on vacation, I'm working. I'm not intense. I'm not working with a client or anything like that, but ideas, things come up, they come to me. I'll write them down, I'll put them in a note. So in a sense, I'm always working, but yes, I'm also on vacation. And I used to go to Asia. I used to go to the Caribbean. It was always somewhere that was tropical or, it was very nurturing for me. But I also worked. I mean, one year I was in Thailand and I broke my ankle there and I was in the hospital and there I was sitting on a laptop in the nurse's station. So,
if I could piggyback on that, William, because you're absolutely right. But something occurred to me as to why we do that. And there's a positive and a negative. The negative is, okay, you work for yourself. You are working all the time. You're the janitor as well as a CEO. You can say, okay, that's the downside. But the positive side is, if you're fortunate enough to love what you do, right, then it really is what you do.
Yeah, it's not work.
It's not. Day in and day out, this is what I do. So, hey, it's December 24th. Okay, I'll take a little time off. December 25th, it's January 1. Okay, wonderful. Celebrate the new year coming in. But I guarantee you, I will still be in front of this machine at some extent on these days. That's what I do. And as I say, the positive side is you're working for yourself. You presumably you better love what you do if you're working for yourself.
Yeah, you better.
And then you're right. It's not alienated labor. What used to be called alienated labor, it's not that at all.
Yeah, it's one of the things I say is like, wow, one day out of the year. So American Express has their campaign, Shop Local. I'm very passionate about the local independent business. And I see their commercial. It says, one day, shop one day, it's local. How about the other 364 days out of the year? Come on. You're calling, you know, Shop Small Business Saturday. What do you mean? One day? You know, how about every day? You know, so it's.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what's great about both of you is that you've clearly designed a life to go your way, and a life that's set up so that you can actually live by your values and principles. And we really are blessed to have that opportunity. And I can see that you guys have actually, neither one of you said this, but I can hear just that you have done a series of trial and error over many years of being in business, and have found a way where you and your clients and your business is at your best throughout the whole year, depending on what changes and what comes up and how you work and what you're up to. It's you know, that it's strategy, and it's consistent. It has integrity. And I think that even if that's no longer conscious, because I think both of you have been in business now successfully for so long, that's just the way that you operate. That is the kind of strategy that anybody is smart to replicate.
You would call that strategy. I would call that, well, first, just being true to yourself. And like when I work with clients, oftentimes it's like, okay, you know, what do you want? Well, most people don't know what they want. And you got to sit there and says, okay, well, why do you want that? Or did society put that on you? Or did your friends, or because keeping up with the Joneses, or that's the way it's supposed to look? I says, no, what do you want? You can have anything you want. So, you know, the good news is you can have anything you want. And the bad news is you can have anything you want, and you don't know what you want.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right, William. You know, it's everybody has a life that they've already created. They've already, whether they like it or don't like it, somewhere along the line they said, I want this. Yeah. You know? And sometimes you get you bite off more than you can chew, or you decide, wow, I really didn't want this. I really didn't want this. And like you say, Rose, there's a lot of trial and error going on, and I'm finding, for example, less and less tolerance for working with, or let's even call it chasing, because you want the business or you need the business, the wrong kind of client.
Oh, yeah.
Client, you know, it just isn't worth it. Now that comes with time. You know, that comes with wisdom. That comes with having had pain over.
Yeah, or because you would have to know what type of client you want.
Yeah.
Like, who's your target audience? Who are you going after? You know, most people, anybody. No, not anybody.
Oh, no. Well, you know, there's an activity exercise in Law of Attraction that I learned from Michael Loge, one of my Law of Attraction coaches. That's called clarity through contrast. And you can identify your ideal client or ideal anything through this exercise. But contrast is everything you don't want, everything that feels bad. And you identify that first, and you delete, and replace by the positive things and characteristics that you do want. You create a profile about that. So, you know, it takes time to recognize, wow, this was a whole lot more trouble than it's worth, this person, or this business, or this partnership, or this project. Wow, I don't want to do that again. You know, that kind of thing.
It's really great, because that's the truth. As you go into new industries and new businesses, to change your business model, you have to do that again. It's not a one-time thing. That's an always thing.
Yeah. I have had, when I say something like that too, I have in the back of my mind a number of, let's call them partnerships, that have gone south, you know, even to the point where I have questioned my ability to recognize and choose a good partner, you know. And I think it would behoove me to take a little bit of my own advice here and do that clarity through contrast exercise, with, you know, who constitutes a good partner for me? What does a good partnership for me look like? Since I've had several failed ones, and it's you know, unfortunately, I have to say several, not just one, from which
I'm
I've
excited about that, Jim. Failed? Oh yeah. For me, failure breeds success.
Yeah. Well, it's true. It's true. But you may be more apt to learn from your mistakes than I do.
Well, you think about it.
I know both of you. I can tell you, you're about equal.
When you succeed at something, it's, well, yeah. You're so happy, you're so thrilled. You don't spend the time to say, okay, what was missing? Where did I go wrong?
That's right. That's right.
When we fail or something doesn't go according to how we planned, then it's like, okay, what did we miss? What didn't work? We will spend the time, what I call, you know, let's dissect this. Let's investigate this.
That's right. Yeah.
Whereas when we succeed, we're just thrilled.
We're thrilled. Well, and two, we should be asking this question before we jump into things. But even after the fact, let's say you have failed. Lots of times it becomes a matter of, what did I pretend not to see?
There you go. what I step over.
This was there right from the beginning, Jim, and you wanted something so badly that you deliberately ignored it. Bingo. It was there.
It's always there.
Right? Always there. Always
Bingo.
There.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think part of my what I mentioned as a lack of tolerance or growing intolerance for certain things is, man, let me face it now. Let me face this little red flag now. What am I pretending to see now? Yes, I thought this was going to be good. I'm getting some red flags. Okay. Rather than ignore them, let me look at them now.
Yeah.
And a lot of time, a lot of pain, a lot of money if I dealt with it.
It's, if you told the truth in the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. I don't like this. This is not working. She said to tell the truth. But we're so invested in, and we really want to see that future we're creating.
That's right.
Well, we'll tell ourselves a lie called,
you took it right out of my mouth. We're willing to lie to ourselves.
Yeah. Tell ourselves
we're willing to lie to ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah. Which now we've sold out on ourselves. We've sold out on our beliefs. There's no longer a foundation of integrity. And that's it. Right. It's done.
So why don't we, William and Rose, commit to telling the truth this year in 2017? Telling the truth to ourselves.
2017, the year of the truth.
The year of the truth. And we could actually start now toward the end of we can hit the road running.
Yeah.
We can hit
I love that. That's really great.
Year of truth.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think that's a perfect place to end today's Real Talk.
Okay.
Sounds
the
good.
year of the truth going forward, and the practice that is.
Yeah.
The daily practice that is. And so many valuable things both of you came up with as far as your strategies, what's natural, going in the direction life is going in, not having to be a particular way, but doing what works for you, analyzing that. So it really is perfect that we end up at, this is the year of the truth, because that's the central theme inside of all of that, is the authenticity and the being true to yourself and what works for you as a business person. So, anything else you guys want to add in closing?
No, I think it's perfect.
The perfect place to close, Rose.
Right.
Yes.
Jim,
Sure.
and since you don't have the lower third down there, just tell people where you can be reached, where your website is.
My website, www.jimalvino.com. Will do it for now.
Perfect.
And also check me out on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn.
Great.
So I do.
Great. And we will have probably a few more Real Talks before the end of the year coming up, and get everybody started on their practice for the year of truth.
Yeah.
Wonderful.